You might think your dog only hates trips to the vet or getting a bath. But what if the little things you do every day, things you thought were harmless, are actually breaking their trust? And the worst part, you may not even realize it. Let's dive into 12 surprising reasons you may be giving your dog to resent you without even knowing it. One of these reasons could be the very thing that's making your dog pull away from you. And once you know what it is, you'll never see your dog's behavior the same way again. Reason number 1, punishment. Nearly 90% of dog owners use some form of punishment daily, whether it's raising their voice, pulling away affection, or saying no with frustration. But here's the truth to your dog. This doesn't teach, it confuses. It creates stress, anxiety, and most importantly, it chips away at the bond of trust they're trying so hard to build with you. Have you ever noticed the look in their eyes after you scold them? The ears drop, the tail lowers, and they suddenly seem smaller, quieter. That's not guilt. That's fear disguised as obedience. Imagine this. You're trying to speak a language no one understands, and every mistake earns you anger instead of guidance. That's your dog's world when punishment becomes the rule, not the exception. In their mind, your tone, your sigh, even the sound of your footsteps can turn into signals of danger. Studies show that dogs trained through harsh discipline release higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and over time that constant tension can reshape their behavior and even their brain chemistry. They don't learn what not to do. They just learn to stop trying. But what if instead of fear, you replaced punishment with clarity? Positive reinforcement isn't spoiling. It's teaching in a language your dog can understand. Every treat, every good boy, every calm tone is a way of saying, "You're safe here. Keep trusting me." Because at the end of the day, your dog doesn't want perfection, just your patience. And if this first mistake feels familiar, wait until you hear the next one. It's something most loving owners do out of care, but it can quietly break their dog's heart even faster. Reason number 2, leaving them alone for too long. You feed them, walk them, keep the water bowl full. But what about the hours between? What does your dog actually feel when you close that front door behind you? To us, it's just a quick trip to the store, or another busy shift at work. But to your dog, it's like being left in a house where time doesn't pass. Sound becomes silence, and every creak of the floor feels like hope. Have you ever come home to shredded pillows, scratched doors, or just that distant, empty stare? That's not mischief. It's loneliness echoing through every corner of your dog's mind. Dogs are pack animals. To them, being left alone isn't just boring, it's unnatural. It's being separated from the heartbeat that makes their world feel safe. In fact, some studies show that long periods of isolation can increase anxiety levels, trigger depression-like symptoms, and even shorten a dog's lifespan. Think about that. Each long, silent day chips away at their sense of security, like waves wearing down a cliff. But what if your departure didn't feel like abandonment? What if your dog had something to look forward to besides the sound of your keys in the lock? Quality over quantity, that's the secret. Even just 20 minutes of fully present play or calm connection can fill their emotional tank in ways hours of distracted presence never will. Because the next mistake, it doesn't involve leaving them alone at all. It happens when you're right there and still miss what they truly need from you. Reason number 3, forcing social situations. They hate you. Take your dog to the park, thinking it's a gift. New friends, fresh air, freedom. But have you ever watched them freeze tail, tucked eyes, darting like they're looking for the nearest exit? That's not excitement. That's survival mode. To us, a dog park is a fun outing. To them, it can feel like being thrown into a loud party with strangers they never agreed to meet. And worse, being pulled toward dogs they're unsure of while you stand there smiling, thinking they'll get used to it. Here's the truth. Not all dogs want to socialize, and not on command. Dogs are deeply emotional beings, with preferences, fears, and boundaries just like us. When we ignore the signs, the stiff body, the low growl, the side glances, we send one message loud and clear: I'm not listening. And when they feel unheard, trust begins to fray. What should have been bonding time becomes a betrayal wrapped in good intentions. Some dogs may learn to enjoy company over time, but it has to be earned slowly, gently, with you by their side as a buffer, not a bystander. Because here's the twist: what calms them most isn't the place or the other dogs. It's you, your presence, your protection, your understanding. And if you think this mistake is easy to miss, wait until the next one, because it happens even when you're doing absolutely nothing. But your dog feels everything. Reason number 4. Ignoring their body language. Your dog doesn't speak English, but they've been talking to you this whole time, with their eyes, their tail, the way they shift their weight or glance away. The question is, are you listening? You might think everything's fine because there's no barking, no growling. But what about the licked lips, the yawns that aren't from tiredness, the stiff stillness when a stranger reaches down to pet them? These aren't quirks. These are whispers of discomfort. And when we ignore them, those whispers can turn into cries. Imagine being scared and having no way to say it except through a flick of an ear or the tension in your back. Now imagine the person you trust most keeps walking, keeps smiling, keeps putting you in the same uncomfortable situation. That's what it feels like when your dog is trying to communicate and we don't notice, or worse, don't care. Understanding dog body language isn't about training. It's about connection. It's about seeing your dog not as a pet, but as a partner, constantly giving you feedback about how safe or stressed they feel. The more you learn their signals, the more they'll trust you to protect them. And when they trust you, they open up in ways that melt the heart. But if you think body language is subtle, the next reason is even more invisible. And yet it can overwhelm their entire world with just one breath. Reason number 5. Overwhelming their nose with strong scents. You light a candle, spray the countertops, dab a bit of citrus oil on the furniture to keep it fresh. But have you ever wondered what that feels like to a creature who lives through scent, the way we live through sight? For dogs, every breath is a full-color photograph, every sniff a sentence. Now imagine trying to breathe while someone shines a flashlight into your eyes non-stop. Your dog's nose is a masterpiece of nature, capable of detecting a single drop of sweat in a stadium. But that gift comes with a price overload. Vinegar ammonia, bleach air fresheners, they don't just smell strong. To your dog, they can feel like walking into a room filled with smoke. And yet, we fill their world with these invisible storms, thinking we're just tidying up. Ever seen your dog sneeze after a spray? Hide in another room, lick their lips anxiously. They're not being dramatic. They're drowning in scent. But here's the beautiful part when you start using pet-safe cleaners or airing out the house before your dog walks in. Their behavior shifts. They breathe easier, literally and emotionally. You've just turned their house back into a home. And if scent overload feels like an invisible attack, what happens when we rush their only sacred ritual, the walk, and strip it of the very thing they crave most? That's where we're headed next. And trust me, it changes everything. Reason number 6. Rushing their walks and skipping. Sniff time. You clip on the leash, lace up your shoes, and head out for what you call a walk. But to your dog, this isn't just exercise, it's their favorite novel, their morning newspaper, their way of making sense of the world. And every time you rush them past a lamppost, tug them away from a patch of grass, or sigh impatiently while they sniff the air, you're closing the book before they've finished the first page. To us, a walk is a physical task. But for dogs, it's emotional therapy. Sniffing lowers their heart rate, helps them decompress, and even boosts their memory. It's how they check in with who's been there, what's changed, and whether the world still feels safe. Cutting that short is like taking a friend to lunch and telling them to stop talking after the appetizer. You may think you're just being efficient, but to your dog, a rushed walk says, "My needs don't matter." Over time, that message sinks in deeper than you realize. And here's the real twist. When you let them sniff, really sniff, you'll notice something shift. They come home calmer. They sleep better. They feel heard in a language that has no words. But while rushing their walks steals peace, the next mistake steals safety. And it starts with something as innocent as a cleaning spray left on the counter, or a mop soaked in ammonia. Reason 7. Using harsh chemical cleaners. Around them, a clean home feels like a fresh start. The lemon scent, the shiny floors, the disinfected air, it's comforting to us. But have you ever watched your dog leave the room right after you've cleaned it? Or sneeze and squint as you mop the floor? That's not coincidence. That's chemistry, and not the good kind. To your dog, that lemon scent might smell more like acid. Bleach, ammonia, strong detergents. These aren't just smells. They're airborne assaults. With every breath your dog takes in particles their body can't explain, and their instincts can't ignore. Their nose isn't built to filter toxins. It's built to find life, food, safety, love. But when their home starts to smell like danger, they stop relaxing. And when they can't relax, they stop trusting the space they're supposed to feel safest in. Even more alarming studies have shown that long-term exposure to harsh household cleaners can lead to respiratory issues, behavioral changes, and, in some cases, even neurological symptoms in dogs. Imagine your sanctuary becoming your trigger. That's what we risk when we prioritize a surface shine over sensory safety. The good news? A few simple swaps like vinegar, baking soda, or pet-safe products can restore peace to their breathing room. They'll return to their favorite spots, nap deeper, stretch longer, and feel at ease once more. But while these scents linger in the air, the next mistake we make leaves a mark deeper than scent. It's emotional. It happens when we push our dogs to face what terrifies them, without ever showing them they have a choice. And that breach of trust, it's harder to clean up than any mess. Reason 8, forcing them into fearful situations. You clip the leash, open the car door, and say, "It's just the vet." But to your dog, it might as well be a haunted house. Have you ever felt their body stiffen the moment you turn onto that familiar street? The whining, the trembling, the refusal to step through the clinic door. That's not disobedience. That's dread. And when we drag them forward anyway, pulling, bribing, pushing, we don't just break their comfort. We break their trust. Fear doesn't disappear through force. Imagine being terrified of deep water, and someone shoves you into the pool to help you get over it. Do you feel braver or betrayed? That's exactly how dogs experience being forced toward the things they fear, whether it's the vet, a loud vacuum, the bathtub, or even a stranger's hand. And over time, the message they hear isn't, "You're safe." It's, "You're on your own." But here's where everything can change. What if you showed them you see their fear, that you'll never be the one to push them deeper into it? Standing beside them, Giving distance instead of pressure, rewarding calm instead of punishing panic, that's how trust is built. That's how fear slowly melts, not from dominance, but from partnership. Because once that trust is cracked, dogs start questioning everything. Even your touch, your tone, your presence. And the scariest part, sometimes you're right there with them, but they still don't feel protected. And in the next reason, we'll uncover how confusion caused, not by fear, but by mixed signals, can quietly unravel the bond you're working so hard to build. Reason number 9. Touching them in ways they secretly dislike you, reach down to ruffle their head, wrap your arms around their neck, maybe even give their backside a firm pat. It feels affectionate to you, normal, even loving. But have you ever noticed your dog flinch, freeze, or lean away just slightly? That pause isn't nothing. It's a whisper. I don't like that. The hard truth is, many dogs tolerate our touch, but they don't always enjoy it. And when we ignore those micro-signals day after day, it sends a message. They quietly file away. You don't always understand me. Think about it. Would you enjoy someone hugging you tightly every time you sat down, or poking your ribs to show they care? Dogs aren't stuffed animals. They're sentient, sensitive beings with preferences. Some love belly rubs. Others guard their belly like it's sacred. Some lean in when scratched behind the ears. Others shy away from hands coming at their face. And here's the kicker. Just because your dog doesn't snap or growl doesn't mean they're okay with it. Many dogs are peacekeepers. They'll endure before they react. Until one day, they don't. The good news, trust deepens when we give them choice. Start watching their reactions, even to affection. Do they lean in? Do they stay soft and loose? Or do they blink, pull back, lick their lips? That's their answer, clear as day. And when they learn that you listen, not just when they bark, but when they whisper, they'll invite more. Touch, not less. But what if the real problem isn't where you put your hands, but when life itself feels unpredictable? The next mistake may be one you've never considered: how your dog handles the chaos of a world that never sticks to the same plan. Twice. Reason? We're 10. Ignoring their need for routine and predictability. Your morning shifts, your errands pile up, dinner's late. The walk happens, if at all, when everything else settles. Sound familiar? To you, it's just life. To your dog, it's instability. Dogs don't just love routine, they need it. Not because they're creatures of habit, but because in a world built by humans, routine is the closest thing they have to control. Imagine waking up every day with no idea when or if food will come, when the door might open, when someone might return. It's like living in a world without clocks, where every sound might mean something or nothing. That unpredictability, it doesn't make dogs adaptable. It makes them anxious. Their body tenses. Their behavior shifts. They become more reactive, more withdrawn, more off. We often mistake this restlessness for bad behavior, but often it's just a nervous system on edge searching for patterns that never come. And here's the twist. Even small consistencies, feeding at the same time, greeting them in the same tone, a daily walk at sunset, can anchor their entire sense of security. You become their lighthouse, steady in the chaos. So before you blame the barking, the pacing, the chewed slippers, ask yourself, how steady is their world? Because the next reason we'll explore is even more invisible, yet more damaging. It's not about food or timing. It's about the way we speak, and how, without meaning to, we make our words completely meaningless. Reason? Number 11. Using words without meaningful tone or context. You talk to your dog. Of course you do. Maybe you even narrate your day or say things like, "Be good, okay," as you leave the house. But here's a question. do they actually understand? Not your words, but your meaning. Dogs aren't listening for grammar. They're listening for music, tone, timing, emotion. And when our words come wrapped in mixed signals, we don't build connection. We build confusion. Picture this: you say stay, but your body leans forward and your hand reaches out. That's an invitation, not a command. Or you scold them with a sweet sing-song voice because you feel bad yelling. But to them, that's praise. Over time, this mismatch between word and action makes your voice unreliable. Just noise in a noisy world. And once your dog stops trusting your tone, they stop looking to you for cues. Here's the deeper truth your dog wants to understand you. They study your face like a map, your voice like a compass. But they need consistency, clear signals, words that match movement. A calm, good boy after a job well done means more than 10 rushed ones mid-scroll on your phone. A soft no with a firm stillness teaches more than a shout across the room. When your tone aligns with your message, your dog feels safe, seen, and steady. Because for them, it's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. And as we head into the final reason, we're not talking about language anymore. We're talking about space, quiet, sacred space, and how ignoring it might be the most painful mistake of all. Reason, Dr. 12. Failing to respect their need for quiet and safe spaces. You love your dog, so you keep them close, always underfoot, always in the heart of the action. The TV hums, guests arrive, the vacuum roars, dinner simmers. It's life. But for your dog, it can feel like standing in the middle of a storm with no place to hide. Have you ever seen them retreat to a corner, slide under a table, slip into the closet during fireworks, or just disappear when things get loud? That's not shyness. That's survival. Dogs like us need refuge, not just physically, but emotionally. A place where they're not performing, not interpreting your tone, not bracing for noise or touch, just being. And when we deny them that, when every room is a stage, when they're always on their nervous system, never gets to rest. Imagine never having a door to close behind you. That's what life feels like to a dog with nowhere to exhale. Many behavior issues stem not from lack of exercise, but lack of retreat. A simple, quiet corner with a soft blanket, a crate left open, a room they know is theirs. These aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. And when you honor that space, something changes. They trust more, bark less, sleep deeper, because now they have a choice. And in that choice, they find peace. So here's the real question: if your dog had the words, what would they say they need most from you? Because now that we've uncovered these 12 hidden heartbreakers, it's time to bring it all together and ask not what your dog does for you, but what you can finally do for them. Ready for that final message? It might just change the way you love them forever. After all these years, through the tail wags, the muddy paw prints, the quiet nights curled at your feet, your dog has only ever asked for one thing to feel safe with you. Not perfect walks, not gourmet treats, just safety. Emotional, physical, unshakable safety. And every one of these 12 reasons we've explored, they aren't signs of failure. They're invitations, beautiful, humbling invitations to do better. Because your dog doesn't hold grudges. They hold hope. Hope that the next time they hesitate, you'll pause with them. That when they sniff the same tree for the 10th time, you'll wait. That when they need space, you'll give it. And when they need you, you'll show up, without judgment, without force, just presence. You are their whole world. And now that you know the small things that break their heart, you also hold the power to protect it. Imagine what would change if every dog owner understood just one of these truths. Imagine how many dogs would feel safer, calmer, happier, starting with yours. If this video opened your eyes even a little, don't walk away. Stay with us. There's so much more to uncover about the language of love your dog has been speaking all along. Subscribe to the channel. Be part of a community that doesn't just love dogs, but learns to love them better every single day. Because the next time your dog looks up at you, you'll see more than love. You'll see trust rebuilt one choice at a time.